All right, hello everyone and welcome. My name is John, and in this video, I want to talk to you about why I've switched all of my personal plants into a passive hydroponic style of growing. I'm doing a lot of repots today. I'm going to be repotting all of these things you see here, and so I thought this would just be a good time to get some footage of that, as well as to talk you through my reasons for making this change after so many years of creating my own soil mixes. Now, if you just saw my recent video about which soil mixes I'm still using and which ones I recommend, those are for my larger plants and for all the plants here at my mom's house that I'm not taking with me on my move to Salt Lake City. So for my personal plants, there's a few reasons I am now preferring the passive hydroponics growing style. And the first one is water quality. When I moved to this home a year ago, there's a whole house water softener here, which means none of the water coming out of any of the sinks is suitable for plants because it's full of salt. So I have to use drinking water, and while that's certainly doable, going to the sink, filling up a watering can with the fresh drinking water only, then watering the plant, and it's just kind of been a pain. And so a lot of times I'll just take the plant outside and use a hose, which is not softened, so that's fine, but that doesn't work in the colder months, and a lot of times it's really windy here. We're kind of at the top of a small hill, and so if I take my plants out to water them and I don't keep an eye on them, they could be tipping over from the wind. Now, the second reason is that in the passive hydroponics style, you're using some type of growing medium that does not break down quickly, if really at all. So I like the sustainability of that. I like that you can just keep reusing these materials over and over, with some exceptions. But for the most part, I'm very pleased with things like that. It seems like that's the future, where we're just gonna be using things that don't break down and have a long lifespan. Okay, so the third main reason is ease of use, ease of care. You don't have to check if your plants need water by testing the soil, digging your finger in, lifting the pot. You just check the reservoir. If it's empty, you add more. If it's not, it's good to go, or maybe you top it off. So it's super easy to know when to water, and you don't really have to deal with any hydrophobic soil. So hydrophobia is when part of your soil, usually bark or cocoa coir or peat moss, when they get too dry, they actually just they enter the state called hydrophobia, where they don't let the water in. They start repelling water. So if you've ever poured water on top of your soil and you see it beating up and just sitting there, or maybe rushing right through the pot and not being absorbed, that's because of hydrophobia. So this is kind of an annoying thing when you use a full watering can, none of it gets absorbed, so you wait, use another one, none of it's still getting absorbed, so then you have to get a bucket or a bin or something, let that plant soak, and since I'm not able to use the normal water from the sink, this has been a huge pain in the butt and not something that I'm really wanting to deal with anymore. So the final reason is really that I can rely on a plant sitter with little to no experience with plants. So I'm frequently going on climbing trips, a week at a time or longer, and I hope to be doing more and more of that as time goes on. It's hard to trust someone to come over and take care of your plants if you're not sure really how good they are at gauging whether a plant needs water or not. Did they actually water it properly, or did the water just rush through? There are a lot of things that can go wrong with an inexperienced plant sitter. And with passive hydroponics, I just have to show them, like, just pour a little water on there. As long as there's a tiny bit in the reservoir, it's fine. I'm not gonna have them pH adjust the water and add nutrients. The plants would prefer that, but they don't need it for a couple weeks while I'm gone. All I need to do is instruct someone to come over once or twice a week, pour a tiny splash of water on all of these plants, and they're gonna be good to go. As long as they know not to overfill the reservoir, it's fine. My plants will be just fine no matter how long I'm gone. All right, so for all of those reasons, I'm really preferring this passive hydroponic style, and you will hear the term semi-hydro, and I may even say it. It sounds cool, it's fun to say, it's very catchy. It's technically inaccurate because this is not a semi-hydroponic style of growing, it's a fully hydroponic style of growing. This is hydroponics, but it's a passive setup where the water is just sitting there. There's no pumps circulating anything through, and so that's why this is called passive hydroponics. Now then, let's talk about growing medium. So leca, these clay balls, as you see, this is kind of the standard ingredient people are using. It's pretty easy to get at IKEA. It works very well. And the problem I have with it personally is that it's extremely lightweight. So with small plants, it's fine. I love using leca in jars. And actually, this is my preferred method of propagation, is to propagate in water, then switch to a jar of leca. And I do have a full video about that you can check out. But what I've been preferring now for most of my plants is actually using something like turface or diatomaceous earth, some kind of gritty mix that's a lot smaller and that weighs more than leca, because as the plant gets taller, anytime you move that pot of leca around, plants are just toppling over, and I just don't want to deal with that, especially with a climbing vine where you want it to stay straight up in the middle of the pot. So even though it's nice to have a very light pot of leca, I prefer something a little bit heavier just so my plants are nice and secure and stable inside that planter. So I'm gonna be repotting all of these today, and I'm gonna put all of them except the syngonium into pure diatomaceous earth because it holds a lot of moisture and it absorbs moisture very well from the reservoir even when it's dried out a bit. And that's not the same with all of the other mixes and ingredients I've tried. So I am favoring that as the one I really want to use from now on. I'm not going to use that for the syngonium here though, because this one's already in passive hydro. I'm just going to take it out of here, add all these cuttings in, and throw it back. And I think there's a few all green vines that I'm going to remove. All right, so I've got quite a bit to do. Gonna be really good to get this done as I'm moving in about 6 weeks. So I want these all to have time to adjust after the repot before I move to a new location. So let's get to work. All right, so first we're gonna get this guy, these cuttings out of this jar, which is gonna be a little difficult because there's just so many roots in here. Okay, so we're gonna need to go get a tool. Actually, I just have this sitting on my desk, so that should be pretty good, honestly.
Okay, so I fiddled around with this screwdriver for a while and I just couldn't make any headway at all. This stuff was locked in there, so I had to proceed to the next step. Now, I had never had to do this before with any of the plants I propagated in jars, so definitely, if you leave them in there too long, the roots will stick to the glass and form such a tight grip on each other that it's very difficult to get off. I could not find my working gloves, and I did wear safety glasses, which was totally unnecessary. You should absolutely have gloves on when you are trying this. After I got the big pieces off, there were tiny specks of glass stuck in the leca, and so I actually tossed most of this leca out.
Okay, so I actually had to hit that with a hammer. Look at that. It is still holding its shape right there, even after I busted it open with the hammer. So clearly I left this in here way, way, way too long. You can see how hot-bound it is. Probably best to just get in under here and start messing this up a bit. Whoo! Da, 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 da. All right, so that was rough, and that proves that you can leave your plants in a jar for too long. I was aware of that theoretically, but I had never experienced it firsthand. And now you know. All right, anyways, as you saw, I was not too worried about damaging roots because the problem I was having was too many roots. So this thing's gonna be fine. It's questionable now whether or not I'll actually be able to pull out the green stems, which I don't want. But hopefully these will all kind of wiggle loose here in a moment. Actually, all of the green leaves are on stems that also have variegated leaves, so not gonna worry about it. If something gets fully green later on, which it's not doing because of lack of light, it's just random. Sometimes it happens. And on my mother plant in the past, I've even had these guys put out 3 all green leaves in a row and then bam, explode with variegation. So not a sign of reversion, because I know for sure this is getting a ton of light in my humidity bin. Okay, so that one's done. Let's do the next one. Watch this. Da, 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 da. Oh my goodness, hallelujah. So as you can see, I took these cuttings earlier in the year. These are much fresher, so the root system not even close, but these have roots already, so these are ready to come together. So now what we gotta do is get this mother plant out of here, and I'm gonna just dump it into this bin here. Like a cradle a baby. Oh wow, oh there's a bunch of fungus. Those little yellow, they look like eggs, but they're not. It's that burn balmy mushroom spores. Ta-da! You'll see sometimes, well always, the roots will eventually grow through the soil screen, which is kind of a problem. Oh, this one is right near the edge. Oh, I can just cut that one loose. This one I'm just gonna yank. Oh, and I lost it. So hopefully you can see those yellow, they look like yellow eggs. They're not, it's burn balmy. I'll put the name on the screen. There have been many times I've seen this growing on my plants and in the soil, but without mushrooms ever coming up. I think there was only 1 plant, maybe 2 I've ever had in 4 years where it actually ended up growing mushrooms from these spores. So anyways, not a problem at all, nothing to worry about. Oh yeah, the drainage holes definitely have them. Oh, there's like little baby mushrooms. Well, what do you know? All right, check this out. You see those little guys? Crazy. All right, I need to take a deep breath. I am rushing now because I have a lot to do. Look at that. All of these roots from these vines here. There's actually 3 vines here. 2 of them don't have leaves because I took cuttings from them before. But wow, that is a lot. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap this back up, all these together, just casually. And I've got these that are already stuck together. And I've got these that are still wrapped together. Okay, so actually I need to go get a pole. I'm gonna get a 4-foot pole for this guy. Okay, well, we've made a bit of a mess now, haven't we? But hardwood floor, it's all good. I'm just gonna vacuum it. So, have this 4-foot pole. So, I'm going to fill this about halfway, and hopefully that's enough to semi-stabilize this so that it'll sit there while I attach these plants. Now there are, there are a lot of roots in here that I don't need to put in the soil, so I'll try to pull those out when I see them. Oh, damn. So I was hoping that would work. It did not. So now what I need to do is attach all these to this pole, and then I'll plant them all. Okay, so I'll take this. I'm guessing I want the roots like about there. So I'm gonna wrap this around, and we do the same with this piece. Wow, all right, so this big old chonker right here. Messing it up for the rest of us. Okay, so Now we've got all of this attached to the pole. Okay, so this is when we test our mental, emotional fitness. It's gonna be okay. This is about a third full. I can pick this up all at once, plop it down. Okay, so because of the roots, it's already kind of stable, but I mean, it's not stable, but. Wow, all right. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that looks pretty cool. Oh, here's this floppy vine. Ta-da! Da, 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 da. Wow. Imagine as these leaves are getting bigger and growing up and up and up. Wow, this is gonna be a stunner. This is gonna be easy. Here's Anthurium dorayaki hybrid. So sold to me as Anthurium dorayaki hybrid. Don't know exactly what it is. You can see this is already gonna be good. Oh, I forgot. Gotta pour out the water. Ta-da! That's it, no more leca. Oh my goodness, just imagine if that had happened 45 minutes ago over here. I had to go get a hammer and safety glasses. I couldn't find my safety gloves. This guy is just a little dream come true, isn't he? So we will add a scoop of the diatomaceous earth. Put the plant in here. I want to get the stem down, and then I'll just move these roots around. And then all right, so that's it. Okay, ready for the next one? This one's gonna be easy too. Whew. All right, getting down to it, my friends. So these, I think this is 5 separate single leaf cuttings. They're like slightly fused-ish now, which is good. Which is good. I have this pot. These are from Target. They've been working pretty well. They're really cheap. It's like $3. You do need to add a wick to it. And the one drawback I would say is that the reservoir is pretty small. I would love to have a reservoir double this size. I already have this like about halfway filled with diatomaceous earth, so I'm just going to add some more. All right, ta-da, that was easy. They were all gonna be easy. They were all supposed to be easy. Last one is this white knight. So I'm just gonna loosen this. Curious to see the root system of this thing. I haven't seen it in a long time. And it was previously a much larger plant, so. Wow, look at this stem down here. I wonder if I should even just cut that. Okay, so you see those 4 holes? That's where I'm going to install the wicks that I just cut. So I'm just pulling it up and over. Okay, so I've got these 2 loops in here. So now I need to start adding the mixture, making sure I'm not letting these collapse because I want them to wick up about halfway into the pot. Okay, so put those in there. Let's see if I can reasonably get this in here. All right, I gotta do it. So let's cut about here. Ta-da! Dun, da, 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 da. Oh boy. Okay, so White Knight, Ring of Fire, Dorayaki, and Variegated Syngonium, all complete. Oh my gosh. Whew. Everybody has been safely repotted into a passive hydro setup. All these diatomaceous earth, this one in that blend Wow. You saw how easy those were. It could have been that easy if those other cuttings had not been in that jar for so long. But other than that, that went well. I'm gonna water these all up real nice, stick these back in the humidity bins for the next 6 weeks or so until I move, and that's gonna do it. So I will be back at some point to review for you how this is all working out with the diatomaceous earth. This is not the first time I've tried this. That's why I'm liking it a lot, especially with the smaller reservoir of these planters. This stuff stays wet a lot longer than some of the other mixes I've been using. So I'm tempted to switch everything into this before I move. So that's kind of why I wanted to get this done several weeks out as well, because a month from now, if I'm really loving this, I can switch everything else over before the move, just to make it all nice and simple. But yeah, oh my goodness, that was a long one. So if you made it this far, thank you so much. You are a true plant lover indeed, and you might as well go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons and tell all your friends about this amazing YouTube channel. But seriously, yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this is helpful to you. I've been doing plants for several years now, so I can still remember the time where everything I did today would have been terrifying. I would have had no confidence and would have had a lot of fear. So I know this kind of videos have helped me a lot, so I hope it helps you, and I hope you'll be inspired to share this with other people if it did. Whew, but for now, that's gonna do it. So good luck with all of your plant projects coming up. If you missed the last video about which soil recipes I recommended, you can check that out, links down below as well. And make sure you do come check me out on Instagram at Enlightened Gardener if you're not following me there already. But again, thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the best with your plants and with your life. And I hope to see you back here again real soon. Peace. Whoo-wee! Oh my goodness. Boy, have we got a mess to clean.